One of my absolute most favorite souvenirs to take with me from holiday, of course, is yarn, preferably of the local kind. And this is all yarn that I got in scent, in Cognac, and in my local yarn store. This one is actually leftover from my Polina sweater. As I will be going on another holiday, which means a road trip of 16 hours and then some, I think it is time to knit up my treasures from previous trips. And what I am planning to knit is this. The Starnkeeker. Yeah, my brain is really into colorwork knitting right now. I have this thing where I like switch between colorwork and cables every now and then, and right now it's colorwork. So my statement from the beginning of the year, where I told you all that I can't even count to 4, I can't even count to 4, I can't even count to 4! Still rings true, because I only need 4 colors for the Starnkeeker pattern, and I won't need this. So I'm very sorry, local yarn store, this will be a vacation yarn project only. You can go back here. But, I am very excited for this color combination. It looks so autumnal and warm and cozy, and yes, that is what I want. Good morning, I hope the audio on this isn't entirely horrible. We have left our home to go on vacation 2.5 hours ago, but it has been too dark to knit. How rude. But now that we are in Luxembourg, I think it is time to cast on and knit our very first stitches on this Starnkeeker pattern. Multicolored ribbing probably looks really cool, but it's also very slow working, at least to me. This is 2 hours of work. I started around 8 o'clock and it's 10 o'clock now, which is probably also a little bit fitting, I guess, because we're also not really seeing where we're going. I mean, progress is just white. Might not look like much, but this is effectively 9 hours of knitting with fingering weight yarn. The ribbing approximately took 5 hours. Pretty happy with how crisp the stars are looking. I was kind of worried there wouldn't be enough contrast with the yellow, but there is. Nice. Tomorrow we've got like 6 more hours or something. Morning. We're ready for another 6-hour trip. Let's go to Spain! So we just stopped at a highway resting spot that just happens to have a Roman aqueduct. They are calling it Ponte del Diablo, but I'm telling you it's not built by the devil. These were Romans and it's just in time actually, because my wrist was starting to hurt, so hopefully a little bit of rest makes it so that I can continue knitting all the way of our way. Welcome to Torres. After approximately 17 hours of driving, we are now in Spain to have a little holiday, but that's not what this video is all about, of course. After 17 hours of driving, we are here. I think nearly at the point where we can, well, I'm not dividing for armholes, are we? Because this pattern actually is steeked. Yes, my friends, this will be my very first time steeking a thing. Exciting news, that is. Anyway, we're here, almost at the part where we can start doing stuff for armholes. I might have been doing a little bit of fuffolare, a little bit of zhuzhing, Because while I was knitting with 3.25 millimeters, I was perfectly on gauge in a size that should fit me. But when I did this, it didn't comfortably stretch all the way around my forward movements. So when we got a little bit further along, I went a needle size bigger to have a little bit of a bigger gauge as well. You know, just a little bit of fuffolare. I am not 100% sure that my fuffolare, my finagling, is actually enough. I'm starting to doubt everything and that it might be really small. So I put my knitting on, well, half of my knitting on an extra knitting needle so that I can like actually wiggle myself in and see whether or not it is too small. If I'm going to have to start over, I'd rather do it now than when I'm finished with everything. I even seem to have a little bit of extra space, so that's good. Yeah, I was worried for absolutely nothing, and this is a look. Am I obsessed with this pattern and thus probably finishing this in like a week or something? Maybe. This is like the perfect kind of pattern. It has visual interest, but it's also like easy, simple enough to be memorized, and thus I can just speed through it. We have our armhole steek prepared almost. We're getting to a point where we're also making the neckline steek. Ooh. This is all very exciting. And I also figured if I have already used this much of my previous vacation yarn, then, well, I can buy more vacation yarn. And while it is technically yarn, I got this in a little shop called Lana's Paraíso in Valencia. You see, I'm not going to knit with this. Jumbo yarn is for spinning. Hot take, jumbo yarn is for spinning only. So, future video right there. More yarn. Today was our final day here in Spain, and well, we went back to the city of Valencia to figure out what other yarn shops there were. Quite a bit, it seemed. So I've got a little haul, and I thought, why not share it in the middle of this video? I've got about 6 skeins of this Lana's Alpaca Puja, 100% alpaca, and this is a yarn that is manufactured practically, literally down the road of our accommodation. So talk local. Love it. Also from Lana's Alpaca to, well, not uni-colored skates, luxury hand paint actually called. It's a wool, silk and linen blend. Yeah, luxury is a good name for this. I also got myself 2 skeins of Malabrigo sock yarn in what could be called more bog colored yarn, and well, actually the name is Primavera, so spring, and this is Arco Iris. I am a glutton for really pretty sock yarns, and I love wearing hand knit socks all the time, so it's never a mistake to buy really nice sock yarn, right? Which leads me to the fact that I also let my husband pick a skein of sock yarn for himself. He picked Urth Yarn's unique fingering hand-dyed self-striping merino yarn in this very bright color combination. Now, if you are raising an eyebrow about the fact that I said Valencia, and you know that Valencia actually flooded, we know. We didn't feel entirely good about coming here, But the region where our accommodation is located, so we are right now in Torres, is to the north of the province, and that was not hit by the flooding. And the owner of our accommodation said, when we called him, sun is shining, just come, you will have a nice vacation. Yeah, so we did that, and our thing was, well, if we're here, then we can at least support the local economy by buying local, eating local. So that's what we did. We went to local bookstores, local yarn stores, and local restaurants. Friends, please send me thoughts, help and prayers, because we're going to attempt steeking for the very first time. I'm going to do a crochet reinforcement of my steek and then we'll cut open that central steek. I am both terrified and excited for this. Cutting in my knitting, I've never done that before, which is also, I've never done it before, I'm going to learn something new. Hopefully have a new skill after this. Not mess it up, because I do love what I have knitted over here. Let's do it! Let's try it! If I did everything correct, I should be able to cut through where this leather is appearing, and it should not unravel. Quite happy we're actually starting with the central stitch, because it's the smallest one. If this fails, well, this is not such a big bit to knit again. Oh, my heart is pounding in my throat, but let's do this. So far, so good. We did it, I think. Anyway, the designer now rewards us with some more knitting before we get to the excruciatingly large bit of steeking. Thank you! You can stop screaming at me. I have figured out myself that the way I did this steek wasn't the most efficient one. I followed a tutorial for a one-stitch steek and then thought that I had to steek on both edges of my bridge, but apparently I could have steeked in the middle of the bridge and then folded those flaps over. That's genius. I'm going to do that on this side. Yeah, you bet. But it worked, because a one-stitch steek also works. And now I have a pretty little neckband. Very neat. But now you must imagine this with different outfits, like billowing sleeves, maybe like fancy nice little collar, skirt, dress, not my hiking ensemble, of course, because I've been pulling this down, but that's only because my pants aren't high-waisted enough for this. So happy with it. So happy with it. The fit is perfect. I think it was, however, a good choice to go to the 3.5mm needles, just to have a little bit more room over here. I'm so glad that I got to finish this during my holiday here in Spain, so now that I have both the memories of the yarn being bought in France and the piece being knit in Spain. Steeking also wasn't as scary as it seemed at first. I'm very happy that I tried it. I used to like skip over patterns that mention steeking because I thought, oh no, that is some crazy scary stuff that we're not ready for. We did it. We were ready for it. I have a ton of ends to weave in. I still need to block this, but I couldn't wait to show it to you now that it is finished here in the beautiful castle of Miravet. Maybe when I have done all of that, I might have some more thoughts to share with you. I love that it looks like a knitting magnum opus, while it actually was, personally for me, a very speedy knit. I did this in 10 days, while this looks like something you could spend months or even years on. The magic of a great pattern. This pattern is also a great stash buster. Not if you have full skeins, however. It almost doesn't look like I used anything at all, except from my the main color, the contrast color. That one got decimated a little bit, but all the rest, I could perfectly make another one. Speaking of my main color, what color is this according to you? I bought this as a pink skein, but now that it is in the vest, it's grey actually, or more purple. The magic of color theory and how colors work together. This pink, together with all the warm tones, actually looks a lot colder and more grey than it is. Than it is. Interesting. So yeah, I guess I will have to go on the prowl for another fingering weight pattern that uses 4 colors. Tell me, do you also like to hunt for local yarns on your vacations, and what have you done with them already? But in the odd case that I don't, then, well, you know what's coming next, right? If you like these kind of fiber shenanigans, then maybe you could like, comment or subscribe, but of course that is all up to you, and as for me, I will see you in a next video. But before we do that, here is some more knitting shenanigans. Bye!